Hey Matt, congratulations on your success, brother, and I really appreciate you giving, both sides, and just free speech the opportunity to have a platform, dude.
Got it. You got it. Thanks for everything you've done for this country, Eli. We'll talk next time. Tell Jen hello, and I'll have this ready in a couple of hours, and you can share it and take a look. Thank you, man.
Thanks, brother.
All right. Bye-bye. Wow, that went fast.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can agree. We can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Have I told you how much I love that shirt on you?
I'm sure you have in the past.
I love that shirt on you.
I decided to my nerddom come out tonight.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking. Was my nerddom coming out? So
yeah. Is my mic okay? I didn't get a chance to really move it after Hayden
like what,
moved
aesthetically or
no,
anatomically
the
or
where it's at, the
metaphysically,
location.
existentially?
I don't think mentally it's
pragmatically.
Okay. I had to listen to Hayden sing.
I think it's okay. I think it looks fantastic.
Because I had to move it and I didn't get really a chance.
It looks good. Love that shirt. Sorry for being late. I apologize. That's on me. It was a busy day. Like it was all about fighting trolls today. Like unbelievably. See, the thing is as I did a video, and I think the bigger this show gets, the more bold I get to challenge the thought process of my listeners. And it's like I'm pushing you guys to a certain level that you weren't comfortable with 2 years ago, 3 years ago, then 2, and then 1. And now it's like the election's coming and we got to get sharper. We got to get smarter. We got to stop buying this BS that's out there. And I think I'm pushing you guys a little more. Olivia always looks awesome. I mean, what's new? I mean, I don't even think I got a shower today. That's not true. So here's the video I did about Taylor Swift. Now here's the thing. I think all of you know I've got a bone to pick with Taylor Swift, and most importantly, how much money she cost me with my child. But folks, Taylor Swift isn't a Satan worshiper. What the hell is wrong with you people? I'm really confused. I mean, I understand you guys are, there's a cabal and the Illuminati and lizard people and sex trafficking. The thing is that every time you do that, you just sound crazy. You just sound like people. You just sound like people who follow Bigfoot, or, and no offense, Isaac, or you remind me of my mom when she used to read the National Enquirer, and she would come and show me and be like, honey, can you believe this? And, what, Mom? Well, there's a B-25 on the back of the moon. What? What's a B-25? It's a plane. And they found a bunch of World War II planes and civilian aircraft, and that's where the UFOs are. Like, Mom, do you believe this? She's like, of course I believe this. Look, Michael Jackson and Elizabeth Taylor had their nose done with Elephant Man bones. You didn't know? No, Mom. Holy
your mother.
And this is what I had to grow up with. So maybe that's why I have such like a visceral reaction to it, Livy, is that I hate when people buy into this stuff because it reminds me of my mom and it just drives me crazy. So this is the, someone's like, she prays at the altar of the almighty dollar. Uh-huh. I agree with you. You and I agree, but she's not sacrificing small children to Satan, for God's sakes. Here's the video. Give it a watch. Tell me what you think. Here it is.
You know, you guys are making it really hard to take you seriously. It's almost to the point where everything you read, you believe, except for the things that challenge what you believe, which makes no sense to me. Everyone's like, Taylor Swift, she's a Satanist priestess, and she goes on stage and sacrifices lambs and to Satan. You people, do you even understand what the hell you're saying? She did a song for the stupid rendition, the woke rendition of Willow. You know Willow? You are great. The little guy runs around, and there was a movie with Mad Mardigan that we loved when we grew up. Yeah. Well, they did a TV show of it, and it sucked. It was woke. It was horrible. But Taylor Swift is just reenacting the video she made for the stupid song in the stupid show. You people are nuts. You're just nuts. Get a life. Find something else to do. Lord Almighty.
Yeah, people aren't happy with me, Olivia. They're coming on and they're like, you're a Satan worshiper. You worship at the idol of Taylor Swift, and your poor children. Are you sex trafficking your kids like Taylor Swift sex traffics kids who go to her concert? I'm just, what the? Listen,
These are the same people that believe lizard people and the whole Pizzagate.
You need to talk up. Can you speak up?
Yeah.
You're too quiet.
Are these the same people that were all Pizzagate and the lizard people and so Q? Pretty much?
I get. No, it's people who listen to people like Benny Johnson.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's, go ahead and give me a test.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I just need to turn you up over here. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, give it to me.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Better.
Yeah,
so
we had to mix it up when Hayden was singing.
So I don't like Taylor Swift's politics, but just because I say you guys need to stop. Oh, you got your purse, dude. You know, you freaking defending Taylor Swift. You know what? First of all, it's the internet, right? So you're never going to be able to stop it. But people are just like, I love Benny. I'm like, I didn't say you shouldn't. I just said Benny was wrong. How dare you? Well, who sounds like they're worshiping on what idol and altar now?
It's kind of like the Soy Boys when you said something about what what's his name? See, he's not that important. I don't even remember his name.
Huh?
When you did
wow,
a
that's
show,
just so vague. It's almost like nobody can follow what you're saying.
When you did a show about the dude who's the white supremacist, who's got a podcast.
Oh yeah, Fuentes?
Yes.
Yeah, what
it's
about
like
him?
the Soy Boys. When you didn't say anything negative about him, they come on in drones and attack you.
See, here's the problem. Is Melanie, I understand what Melanie said. Melanie's saying because she has such a huge influence on young people, mainly girls, she's not going out there and saying have unprotected sex. She's not going out there and saying, hey, why don't we go ahead and sit around and have a bunch of unprotected sex and then do some intravenous drug use, all while taking the Lord's name in vain. Okay? She's not saying that. Yeah, she talks about failed relationships. She talks about her cats. She talks about things that, being promiscuous. Who cares?
One of her cats' name is Olivia too, by the way.
Yeah, which is interesting. But who cares? Don't let your kids listen to it. And the thing that I have to say is that, you know who you sound like? I love you all. I love you. But you sound like your parents. You sound like my parents. Don't you remember when Elvis Presley was the devil and your parents told you Elvis is Satan with his gyrating hips and his lamb chop, sideburns? It's the devil music. He's preaching sex with black people. How dare he? He looks like a black person up there gyrating those hips. He should be swinging from a tree with a banana in his hand. Racists, the way 2 generations before us were. Look at that Louis Armstrong with those big black lips around that trumpet. Who does he think he is? Really? Jerry Lewis. Does he know he's white? Okay, so I remember, because even though I wasn't around with those guys, growing up, but I remember what my grandparents used to say to my mom and dad. My dad would listen to Frank Sinatra. You know what he said? He's a guinea mafiosa. Yeah, he was, but he could sing. Yeah, he was the Rat Pack. He was Las Vegas. But yeah, man, that guy could sing. All right, what else happens? Okay, so Elvis is the devil. Louis Armstrong is the devil. Jerry Lewis. No, it's not Jerry Lewis. It's come on, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Is that Jerry Lewis too? Because then there's Gary Lewis. Would you like to go ahead and donate money to me, please? Help me out, Liv.
I'm too young for
Google. Do your job. The Great Balls of Fire. I think it's Jerry Lewis. Because I know Jerry Lewis. There's two Jerry Lewises.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis. Okay, that's right. So anyway, goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire. And then you had your parents with oh, come on. I went down to a burning ring of fire. Come on. I can't even think of his name. One of my favorite performers of all time.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash, thank you. The Man in Black. You got Johnny Cash. Oh, he dresses in all black. He's Satan. Satan? Could it be Satan? Okay, and then...
Mine was Metallica.
No, you're skipping an entire 3 decades. No, it wasn't Metallica. Then it was Jethro Tull and Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix, right? The Beatles. Oh, they were such nice boys when they had that nice haircut. Now look at that John folk. He looks like a hippie. He looks like a heroin user. Oh my gosh. And then some of you didn't learn from your parents with Elvis and decided to go ahead and chastise your hippie-loving, peace-love, dope children because they listened to freedom rock, man. Yeah, turn it up, dude. Now you can get into, and then we started hearing R&B come out and dance, like Soul Train.
Yeah, Black Sabbath with him biting
Wait,
the
no,
heads off
you
bats.
racist. You're Soul Train. You don't remember Soul Train?
Mm-mm.
American Bandstand?
I was too young.
Soul Train with the solid gold dancers. No, it was all black music. It was R&B. It wasn't metallic. You just really want to talk about, you're like, Black Sabbath. Yeah, that was 70/75. But I'm talking about right after that, you started seeing disco, like Disco Inferno and ABBA and Xanadu. Xanadu, right? And the Bee Gees. And there's listen, that's all cocaine music. It's all Disco 52, Ballroom, New York. This is smut. It's devil music. Now say Metallica.
Metallica.
Not quite, because then you had so then you had Beastie Boys, right? And then you had rap music about, oh my God, NWA came out. You're gonna be a gangster. You better stop or you're just gonna get somebody's Tech 9 and you're gonna represent Tupac. Listen, Matthew, you are not gonna go gangbang. Mom, I live in Ventura. It's the third richest place in the frickin' United States. Oh, I've seen those people around the corner, like those guys at that new place called Home Depot. They got Woolworths closed, Matthew, because they would never leave there and nobody wanted to do business there. Mervyn's, one of my favorite places, open. Yeah, they closed that too. Those Mexicans, gangbangers. That's devil music. Hey, Mom, I'm going to play D&D this weekend.
Oh, yeah, that was the big thing. I was told that it was devil worshiping when I grew up.
I'm just going to go ahead and just go play some D&D, Mom. I'm going to go roll my elf. Mom, I get my ass kicked at school every single day because I play D&D. And I've got a 50-side die in my freaking bag with a pencil and graph paper. I'm getting my butt kicked daily. And I can come home and hear it from you. Matthew, that's devil worship. People commit suicide playing that game. You sacrifice your soul to Beelzebub to play D&D. You can't play D&D. Now there's this new thing called Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It makes you kill yourself faster. Give me a break. Then the Nintendo came out. want to play Mario. Is that a demon trying to kill Mario? Who is this Bowser? He breathes fire and he has spikes and he has a flaming hammer of death from Satan. You can't play that. Can I play Kid Icarus? Oh, that's Greek mythology. That's Satan too. E.T. Illegal aliens are horrible. Well, it's Satan, Matthew. You got to go to church and we got to dip you in holy water. Listen, every generation does this. Now it's Taylor Swift. You guys hate Taylor Swift. Why?
Because she's in right now, and anything that is popular and in, people want to bring down.
Why do you have to compare her to Satan? Why can't you just say she's money hungry, she's a dumb blonde, and she's not too bright, but she's very successful, and we don't like her politics? Why do you have to make it worse than it is? Why do you have to attribute everything to Satan? My wife and I play Diablo. That's about the most Satan-infested game you can play. Does that mean we worship the devil? Does it mean because I have a collector's edition candle from Diablo sitting here that one of the creators of the game actually gave my wife as a present? Does that mean that Olivia is selling her soul to false idols and Satan? Or does it mean that she just thinks it's really cool and she likes that the candle lights up?
Oh yeah, you're the devil because you've got the dark mark on your arm.
Oh yeah, I hang out with I got a skeleton on my arm. I hang out with Voldemort.
The other arm, the other dark mark. You held up your.
Well, no, I didn't. I just can't turn.
Oh, it's right.
I can't break my arm and just.
Oh, I thought it was the other arm.
I've got a skull and crossbones on this arm. I mean, Satan? Can we just stop? Why can't we just let people enjoy music and enjoy playing games? And honestly, here's the thing. Just please. Let me ask you a question. Olivia, how many Satan worshipers do you know? Has anyone tried to convert you to the Church of Satan?
No, I don't think I've ever met one.
Have you ever heard of one?
Not a Satan worshiper, no.
No, but Matthew, Satan is in everything. It's not the Church of Satan. It's not. Okay. Let me just be perfectly clear, okay? I have broken God's law. So have you. We all have. We've all been influenced by, if Satan is real and you believe in that, we've all been influenced by him in one way or another, okay? The question is, have you asked for forgiveness? Do you live the best life you can through the Word of God? And if you don't, are you open to receive it and listen to it at some point in your life? That's the only thing you can do. You can only do what you can do because you're not perfect. And for you to say, there's people out there that are saying, well, if you make money, you're being influenced by Satan. If you're successful, Satan has influenced your life. Why? Because money
Some people are interesting.
Money is the devil.
When I went to church camp every year.
Church camp?
Yeah.
Did you
Bible
put a
camp.
Crucifix in your?
Well, I enjoyed it.
Was that band camp?
No, it was Bible
Was it anything
camp.
like band camp? Was there any? Can you talk slower and let's wait till everybody's off?
Oh, jeez.
So you went to church
No,
camp.
I did not play the flute.
That's
My
what I was
goodness.
wondering. I was like crucifix instead because they don't allow music at church camp because it's Satan.
No, I went to Bible camp from 3rd grade to my senior year. Every year, same camp. And I enjoyed going, a lot of friends and stuff. But I remember every year we'd have a new missionary that would come and...
Missionary?
Yeah.
Oh, person.
Yes.
Never mind.
What's on your mind, dear?
I think you know. It's that shirt.
Yeah. And
Y'all. Yeehaw! All right, go ahead.
And every year a missionary or a pastor would come and, they'd preach all week. So one of them, one year, and I don't remember how old I was, but according to him, Sesame Street was bad because of the count. No joke. The count was the devil. I am not joking.
1, 2,
Yes, exactly.
3.
So he preached Sesame Street was bad. I'm like, Sesame Street, really? Yeah. Anyway.
So I'm on Chad Prather's site, which I love Chad. And Chad and I know each other through a mutual acquaintance, but don't know each other personally. But I have a feeling Chad Prather and I are going to meet soon. It just feels that way. Same thing with Ryan Weaver and Dominic Izzo and stuff. I just felt it. So I'm on Chad's site, and Chad goes, and you got to sound like Chad when you do it. Reading the comments has been fun today. Also frightening. There were 4 extremely unhealthy things in the picture, and no one told me to avoid refined sugars or aspartame. Folks just focused on the cigarettes and immediately jumped to the conclusion that they were mine and that I'm a smoker. They even failed to read the commentary that proved the picture was just a joke. While I appreciate everyone's concern for my health and well-being, here are a couple of takeaways. Don't confuse social media with reality, and don't jump to conclusions without getting all the facts. There are a lot of powerful entities out there that would love nothing more than to see us continue to do exactly those things. And no, I never smoked cigarettes. Y'all are awesome. Love y'all. You haven't seen Chad Prather. That's a pretty damn good spot-on impersonation of him.
Never seen him, so.
Well, you just heard him. So that's Chad. And what happened was he had a little photograph, and it had some cigarettes, some aspartame gum, and a couple energy drinks. And everybody was like, you smoke? Oh my God, you're the devil. You're Satan. Don't do it in front of your kids. Oh my God, are you smoking in front of your children? And secondhand smoke is bad for you. Cancer. Oh my God. And he's like, they weren't mine, you dumb sons of. So anyway, so this guy and I just make a post, and this is a lot of the dummies are on here laughing their ass off because all the dummies are on this thread because they all follow Prather too. And when I post, they see it. And I said, wait a second. People on the internet are irrational? ? And this guy named Ralph Nickel comes on, who we're like, this is a bromance. He says, it's true. I read about it on the internet.
That's great comeback.
And then I said, wait a minute. I need to look this up on the internet. Be right back. And he goes, hold on a minute there, fella. I could send you some links instead. And I put, right, but this is the internet. So I would just pretend that I read them and still argue with you when I know I'm wrong. So just give me a damn minute. And I said, okay, I saw your links when I did a search. I ignored them and found an obscure Reddit post from BongBlasta23. And he agreed with me. Sorry, pal. Nice try. And he says, I'm getting too old for this. I just peed my Depends.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, now I have to block you. Why? Because I'm wrong. You make me look bad by even allowing you access to me. Goodbye. And he goes, ditto.
Oh my gosh.
And then I said, I made believe I couldn't stay away because I'm too shallow and weak-willed to follow through with my threats. Now, goodbye. And he goes, double ditto. And then I said, you better follow me, dude. No arguments. And that was it. And he goes, I already do. I hit the like button. Is there a follow button too? I get all your posts.
Nice. Sounds like a cool guy.
I love this guy. I freaking love this guy. Hilarious. See, and that's why I do the show. I don't do it for the idiots. I do it for the people who are just generally here just to relax a little bit. Dude, why is social media, why did people make this our outlet to vent? Can't we just...
Because you get to be who you want to be on the internet because no one knows the real you. Because people put their best face forward on their social media platforms. They only put the most perfect pictures of themselves and their families, and they talk about their perfect vacations and how perfect their job is and how perfect their dinner was tonight and blah, 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 which maybe 5% of that is true.
Right.
And so they hide behind the keyboard to show the world that they are perfect when they're not. And unfortunately, the people like that are so shallow that if someone ever calls them out on their bullshit, they're going to take offense and lash back out. And that's where you get the Karens on the internet, and that's where you get the people like that. Because if you actually were face to face with most of these people, I guarantee they would not be saying what they're saying.
Yeah. I just think there's a time and place to be serious, and there's a time and place not to be. And I just wish people would learn to laugh a little bit. And, even that Taylor Swift post wasn't designed to hurt anybody's feelings. If you're upset by that, that means you actually think that Taylor Swift is a Satanist. And that's the problem. I mean, truly, that's the frickin' problem. So it just makes me, I don't know. It makes me sad that people are this weird. Okay. So we started a little bit late. I want to apologize. And there's a reason why I had to fix something. So there's a couple of people who ordered a few books last night, and I want to tell you what happened. This morning, I got a contact from my publisher, and I saw a refund for like the entire purchase of the 15 books that I purchased, and I'm like, oh, crap. And then he's like, dude, we're not carrying them anymore. We're not going to make any more. The sleeve is done. And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, I've had them in stock since 2017. And you're the only one that buys them. And I said, dude, there's a real demand for these things. And I could probably sell 1,000 of these things this year. And he's like, I just can't. And I said, all right, well, if they come back in stock, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and make something. So I partnered up with Jason from PFC Flag. If you haven't been over to PFC Flag, go do it. You guys know Jason, the flag behind me. Olivia's flag on her side. He makes all of our flags, wooden flags, beautiful flags. They're the greatest flags in the world. Huge flags.
It almost sounded like Christian Slater right there.
They're greatest flags in the world. You know, we sit around, we smoke some dope, and we get stupid, and we stare at our flags. This is Happy Harry Hard-On signing off and saying there's ectoplasmic cum stains all over the walls. Anyway, so we've decided to do a few things.
What? What are you laughing at?
I don't know. What? You said Kristen Slater, and I was like, okay. So
should I just start yelling out names and you start doing impersonations?
Oh, I like it when you yell out names, particularly one name. Thank you very much. So here's the listen, we have all 3 books now. Everyone's like, why don't we have a bundle? Why don't we have a bundle? We have a bundle. Here it is. So you can get all 3 books. I had to bump the price of the books a little bit by $1. I'm sorry. I had to. Individually, the shipping's killing me. So you can get all 3 of the books right here. The ones that sit by my side, they're right here. Okay? Good. I got to change the video up because the product line's changed. Now, instead of having the sleeve, I just want to show you what we've got instead. And I think you're going to like it. It's all 3 books. And Olivia, move over a little bit. Just like do that. So wrong way. There you go. Documents of Freedom is emblazoned on a stained piece of wood, and it is cut and engraved into the wood with the letters spelling Documents of Freedom. They are individually stacked, so I don't have to lean them against anything. They're in grooves. So this will sit flat on a shelf, and you can display all 3 books like this. And this is custom made by PFC Flags. Listen, this isn't a joke. It's custom made by an American-based company, and the fact that he can do it for around $20 is ridiculous. Jason's amazing.
Now, I know somebody had asked when we were talking about it, can you actually order it with like initials or anything like that?
I'm sure we can do something on a special basis. You just have to ask me. But we'll have the stand for sale and the books. You can order them now. They're going to ship February 12th. The new price for them is $64.99. So you got to look at the price up. So you were looking at $50 with a sleeve. That was a little cardboard sleeve leather. This is wood, custom made, stained, and put together and manufactured by an American-based company who donates a crap ton of time and money to veteran groups. So you're looking at spending an additional $15, and you get a custom-made wooden stand for your books. It's available for you. So the people who bought last night, I don't have that sleeve anymore. If you want the stand, we're going to have to figure something out. Reach out to me. So I think the only person I haven't talked to is Ramon, and there was one other gentleman who I haven't recognized his name. Please reach out to me. Okay? I would appreciate it. All right? So now that we've got that, was that Owen Wilson? No, it wasn't Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson's like, wow. Yeah, it's all like you just got to do wow. Wow. He does that. I haven't tried to do Owen Wilson. I don't know. That was Christian Slater. Very similar to Jack Nicholson. You know, Jack Nicholson is, I eat breakfast 300,000 yards from 400,000 Cubans who are trained to kill me. So don't think you can come down here in that faggoty white uniform and make me nervous. And Christian Slater is more of a higher tone. It's like, everybody, we're sitting around, we're smoking joints, we're getting stupid. And he does that higher voice. Not to be confused with Howard Cosell. This is Howard Cosell, live from CBS Sports. Hey, look at that little monkey run. Liv, what are we talking about tonight?
At this point, I have no idea. Holy cow. We should just like go with it with the show.
No, we shouldn't do it. We should actually do it. I've already got all the videos. I was just teasing.
Hey, I wanted to say something. You kind of went off on a tangent first. So I
really? You don't
wanted
even
to
call
say
it a tangent. I'm not some prepubescent girl. Go ahead.
But you do like Taylor Swift, so you know you are a devil worshiper.
I
Dare you?
Love Taylor. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for your support.
For your support.
We hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yes.
I wasn't on the show last night when we did it, but I would like to just thank everyone. I've been working my butt off for it, and I am very happy. You know, when I came on 6 months ago, we got maybe 1 or 2 comments on both Rumble and YouTube per show.
Yeah.
No talking, nothing. And we had like sub 500 followers and subscribers on each channel.
Yeah. People think I'm drinking tea. I'm not. I'm drinking my workout shake. Same thing I drink every night. I'm just in a good mood. Pardon me for being in a good mood. Go ahead, Liv.
Now we finally hit 1,000 on YouTube. We've got like 1,400 on Rumble, and it's constant talking and comments.
We are actually monetized.
platforms.
We're making money from YouTube on this one for the first time ever. So that's good news. Congratulations, Olivia. You have worked incredibly hard.
That's really loud. Holy cow. Ooh. Apparently we didn't test that one.
No, it's not clipping though. It's just clipping in our headphones.
Yeah, it was really loud.
So I know it was a joke, Tam, and listen, you just better back off, or Taylor and I are going to sacrifice you to Beelzebub. All right, let's get to it. We got a lot to do, and I want to get off tonight and go play Diablo because my mommy wouldn't let me, and you're not going to stop me. Okay.
Okay.
What are you talking about? You're the one who plays too. So new update coming, by the way. They have a new segment coming in the game, which is going to be really fun. So Mark Zuckerberg. Now, I don't know if you know this, but I did a show about a year ago, which focused on the sex trafficking allegations against Facebook. And I was really one of the only people to cover this. Tim Pool covered it, which is great for Tim. Tim's really good at scouring the internet, and I do the same. But I know Timmy covered it, and then I covered it, and then I think a couple people caught on a couple weeks later. But Fox really didn't even touch on it. But it was a report that came out and an investigation into the hearings against social media where they looked at police reports, specifically from Florida, that demonstrated child sex trafficking, that the one thing that like 67% of all the sex trafficking coming out of Florida, which is a very large spot for sex trafficking, derived nationally from Facebook. And people were using the private messengers and the WhatsApp and the Facebook to leave very Pizzagate type stuff. It's amazing. People always make fun of Pizzagate. And I think narrowing it down to just Pizzagate was where it went off the rails. But there are people who will use the dark web to put children on there. And then obviously when they get to the regular internet, will use coded languages and images and things to that effect to traffic children and women and men. And this was a very serious thing. I mean, I think I broke it down. I'll try to find the show for you guys. Most of you remember it because it was shocking to a lot of people. And people were like, wow, Matt really brought the receipts that night. And I just showed you out of like the 3,000 some odd cases for that year, like 2,700 of them derived from Facebook. So Josh Hawley had Zuckerberg along with a few other people on the dais and sitting under the hot seat, and he decided to go ahead and grill Mark Zuckerberg. Now, I want to be clear. I don't have a problem with Facebook. Okay. Dottie, I'm not going to get into Pizzagate with you, okay? There's no doubt in my mind that some of that is a semblance of truth. I'm not going to say it's not. But all the other stuff that was surrounding it is where I have questions. But we're not going to do that tonight. But I appreciate your opinion. The thing that frustrates me is that immediately everybody's like, Zuckerberg's a Nazi. He's like, listen, Zuckerberg, in my opinion, has been one of the most influential CEOs in any company to influence elections that really should create and overturn Citizens United. I think he is a complete influencer. He purchases votes. He has no problem dumping millions of dollars into elections. And I'm not a big fan. I don't like Zuckerberg. I've never liked Zuckerberg. I was hoping he would fight Elon Musk. I was just praying to God he would find the courage. He ran me through the coals. He tried to deplatform my page several times, and luckily I got smart enough, quick enough. And there are plenty of graveyards full of conservative shows that didn't make it through the Facebook Inquisition / Meta Inquisition of 2020 to 2022. There's a lot of them that died. I didn't. And I don't have a problem with the way Facebook treats me now. They have treated me very well for like a year. And honestly, I make a lot of money off Facebook. And I appreciate that. I'm not trying to save anything here because I'm going to talk shit about Zuckerberg, but I'm also going to say a few things. And I'm not trying to save my bacon. I'm not going to kiss their ass. They censored COVID. They tagged me. They demonetized me. Hell, I still don't have stars. I'm on a live program right now and I don't have any stars. Everybody gets stars. I don't have any. I know podcasts with 5 followers who have stars. I still don't have it. I don't know why. I can't get them to lift it. Reels. My reels are super popular. I influence over 1.5 million people a month with my reels. People who interact and say, go look at the reel for the Taylor Swift. It's already at like 35,000 views. I don't get paid for that. If I would have gotten paid for all the reel interactions that I had, I would have made at least 10 grand off of it. I made nothing because I'm not monetized. So I've got my problems with Facebook. But there's something that happens here, which is the fine line between conscience and conscientious. And I want to display the difference because when Olivia brought this to me, I was watching it. She told me about it. Is Josh Hawley becomes the conscience of Mark Zuckerberg. And Mark Zuckerberg immediately becomes conscientious of his surroundings. And it's a moment of clarity that very few people have. And although I don't feel it's staged from Zuckerberg, I feel it never would have happened if it wasn't for Hawley. So it's a very interesting exchange. And breaking it down into the minutia, I want to get your reaction. So Liv, we're going to play it. Want to get your thoughts on this. And it's a very interesting 4 minutes. So let's go ahead and watch it. Liv, where'd you go? Liv, there she is. Okay, ready? Here it is. Son of a...
It's son of beach sheet.
Son of beach sheet. I cannot believe
a whistleblower who came
Here it is.
The Senate testified under oath in public. He worked for you. It's a senior executive. Here's what he showed he found when he studied your products. So, for example, this is girls between the ages of 13 and 15 years old. 37% of them reported that they had been exposed to nudity on the platform unwanted in the last 7 days. 24% said that they had experienced unwanted sexual advances they'd been propositioned in the last 7 days. 17% said they had encountered self-content pushed.
Do I think Zuckerberg was sincere? I don't think you listened to me, Dottie. I don't think you listened to what I said. I will say it again. This is the difference between conscience and conscientious. There's a difference, even though they may sound the same. Conscience is what Josh Hawley invoked in Zuckerberg to make him feel, and he was conscientious of his surrounding, which forced him to say something. His apology, I want you to listen to it carefully. I want you to listen to it in the level of how awkward that was. I want you to see, because if you simply blame him for everything, because these numbers are staggering, and he is the CEO, he's the captain of the ship. But to say that Mark Zuckerberg is solely responsible for the actions of other people doing nefarious things, I think that is a very difficult thing to say. Should his company be held accountable for these actions perpetrated on his platform? Yes. And he should answer for them. I find it interesting how this happened. This is unbelievable. No CEO on the planet have I ever seen do anything like this. Even when Steve Jobs had AntennaGate, he blamed it on the customer's inability to hold the phone correctly and still gave them $30 million worth of free phone cases. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's watch this again. And before we flip out, let's listen.
In the last 7 days. Now, I know you're familiar with these stats because he sent you an email where he lined it all out. I mean, we've got a copy of it right here. My question is, who did you fire for this? Who got fired because of that?
Senator, we study all of this because it's important and we want to improve our services.
Well, you just told me a second ago you studied it, that there was no linkage. Who did you fire?
I said you mischaracterized.
37% of teenage girls between 13 and 15 were exposed to unwanted nudity in a week on Instagram. You knew about it. Who did you fire?
Senator, this is why we're building all.
Who did you fire?
Tools.
It's not going good for Zuck, right? And he needs to be held accountable like this, right? In the court of public opinion, the facts are represented, and he needs to have an answer. You know what the answer is? I didn't. And instead of saying that, he's immediately trying to shuck and dodge. And this is what I meant by sincerity. Is sincerity doesn't mean that you actually believe in what you're saying. Sometimes you can be sincere out of fear or trepidation or embarrassment. And that sincerity comes out. And the sincerity that I was referring to were not his words, because honestly, he was cold as a fish to those parents. It's how awkward he felt and how embarrassed he was. And to me, on a stage nationally and globally, to expose him for what he is a very nice ancillary prize for those parents who were subjected to this absolute torture. So let's finish the rest.
Senator, I don't think that's.
Who did you fire?
I'm not going to answer that.
I never said to like Zuckerberg. See here, this is what I'm talking. I never said to like Zuckerberg. When did I say I like Zuckerberg? You don't have to like Zuckerberg. It's not what I don't understand. Where did you get that I like Zuckerberg because I said Facebook as a whole? I've never even talked to. Do you think Zuckerberg? Excuse me, don't unfriend me. We're gonna have to ban you. But Zuck, don't. I don't even know him. I know he's a little tool and a dweeb. He used to beat the crap out of guys like that in high school. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Facebook as a whole has been really good to me over the last year. That's all. The first 2 years was a nightmare. This year, it's not that bad. But I did the damn story on this before anyone even was doing it. He needs to be held accountable. He needs to answer for this. What I'm saying is every single tweet and every single post and every single share and every single whatever other analogy you have, is it the responsibility of every single CEO to take ownership for everything that's on the platform? No, it's not. When it's brought to their attention and they're aware of it, then absolutely. Folks, I run a page with 185,000 followers, and I swear to God, I literally have over 1,000 comments every 15 minutes posted on my page. There is no feasible way, even if I had a team of 20 people, could I dragnet everything. So is he responsible when he's not aware? No, but the moment he is aware, he absolutely has to be held accountable. And this is what Holly's saying. So all I'm doing is presenting the facts. You don't have to like Zuckerberg at all.
Because you didn't fire anybody, right? You didn't take any significant action.
It's appropriate to talk about like individual
it's not appropriate.
HR decisions.
Do you know who's sitting behind you? You've got families from across the nation whose children are either severely harmed or gone, and you don't think it's appropriate to talk about steps that you took? The fact that you didn't fire a single person? Let me ask you this. Have you compensated any of the victims?
Sorry?
Have you compensated any of the victims? These girls, have you compensated them?
I don't believe so.
Why not? Don't you think they deserve some compensation for what your platform has done? Help with counseling services, help with dealing with the issues that your services caused?
Our job is to make sure that we build tools to help keep people safe.
Are you going to compensate them?
Senator, our job and what we take seriously is making sure that we build industry-leading tools to find harmful content,
make money,
take it off the services,
to make money,
and to build.
Oh God, Hawley's just destroying him. I mean, it's almost uncomfortable. You know, it's like his alien leaders should beam him up and reprogram him and send him back down so he can actually answer. There's a simple answer to this question: yes, yes. You know what? And Facebook won't be responsible. I'm going to write him a check right now. And any person who is impacted, I'm going to do whatever I can. If it's financially the hurdles that are stopping these kids from getting what they need, then I'm prepared to pay them right now. The answer is yes. And it has nothing to do with Meta. This will come out of my own personal bank. And if anyone else is here, I'm telling you right now, you can go to facebook.com/ I'll have you the URL in the next 15 minutes as my programmers go ahead and get us a subdomain ready to go, and they can file any type of grievance they had, and we'll listen to every single one. Yes. What's next, Senator? What else do you need? Because that's the difference between a man and a puppet. And you are damn skippy. If I was worth what this guy's worth, the answer to that question would be yes. And yes, I'm opening myself up for potential lawsuit. Senator Hawley, will you please help me work out some legislation to protect me from having to be accused of things that had nothing to do with this? Can we please use the investigatory committees to put together a report that we can demonstrate who the victims are legitimately versus people who are looking to bankrupt me? Can I have some federal protection? And then put it back in Hawley's court. Or how about you prepare for this ahead of time and have this all laid out and be like, here it is. Because if you can't anticipate a few senators and legislatures' questions, knowing what the implications are, then you shouldn't be running a multi-billion-dollar company. Liv, what are your thoughts on this?
I 100% agree with you. And unfortunately, I don't remember watching that show, and I really didn't know much about this.
Yeah.
So this is all kind of new to me. But yeah, he seems a little squirmy right now and like he doesn't care.
And it doesn't open Meta up to lawsuits, because he specifically said, are you willing to help the victims with counseling? Well, guess what? This guy could go ahead and do that for every single one of his platformers who is impacted by this, and there would have to be some legal ease applied to it. But you know what? If you think him going up and apologizing did not open up to lawsuit, because it just did. It just unzipped his pants, and there is no protection for him. He apologized and took ownership for what took place. He is going to be sued from every which way but Sunday now. This is why this is such a big deal. This is why Hawley wanted to put him in a box, and he got him in a box. So my point is, do you retroactively make a decision that ultimately is going to open you up to massive amounts of lawsuits, or do you proactively make some decisions to go ahead and answer these questions before you even face them? I think we all know the answer to it. Let's go ahead and finish this.
That empower parents.
So you didn't take any action. You didn't take any action. You didn't fire anybody. You haven't compensated a single victim. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims? Would you like to do so now?
Well,
they're here. You're on national television. Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product?
Look at Cruz. Cruz is just like, I couldn't do this better myself, mofo. He's like, you eating him like a good pair of Texas ribs. Yeah.
The pictures. Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these good people?
I'm sorry for everything that you've all been through. It's terrible. No one should have to go through the things that your families have suffered. And this is why we invested so much and are going to continue doing industry-leading efforts to make sure that no one has to go through the types of things that your families have had to suffer.
You know, why, Mr. Zuckerberg, why should your company not be sued for this? Why is it that you can claim, you hide behind a liability shield, you can't be held accountable? Shouldn't you be held accountable personally? Will you take personal responsibility?
So can I interject just a counter argument to this that I want people to think about? So I want to be transparent. Olivia, how long has Ethan and Hayden had a Facebook page?
Since the day they were born.
And even though it tells me that I couldn't create a page for Hayden and Ethan, I had to do what?
Change the date of their birth, the year.
So I had to circumnavigate the restrictions of Facebook and all the Meta platforms when they were younger in order to get them a page that I could catalog their birth and everything, because Facebook was huge, right? And I was like, how cool would it be that when they turn 18, 16, whatever we decide to allow them to start navigating this social media platform, that they could literally see the chronicles of their life already done. So my point is this: even though I don't like Zuck, and even though I'm not a big Facebook fan, these parents knew that you had to be 18 years old to engage in this platform. And this is a big deal. And if they circumnavigated that, or they encourage their children to do so, then they are ultimately culpable for this. Just like you can't blame the gun manufacturer, you can't necessarily blame Facebook when it is parents who are circumnavigating the terms and conditions and what is approved and the age limit that is recommended. So I just want to be clear that even though I think this is abhorrent and this problem was known by Zuckerberg and he could have done something about it and didn't, that is a completely separate situation than who is ultimately culpable for responsibility. If I'm wrong, let me know. If I've made a mistake, let me know. If I'm crazy and I'm not seeing this clearly, let me know. But that's my initial reaction, where I said, is there anything that he could have said that would have made it better? Is there anything that you would have said, oh, that was exactly what I needed to hear from him? And I would beg the question that no, there is nothing.
I don't think there's anything that Zuckerberg can say to those families and those parents that is going to make them feel whole again.
Yeah. How do I know that their kids didn't figure it out themselves? The same way that I know my children don't have access to my gun safe. The same way that I know, because I've put things in place to ensure that I can monitor the internet and monitor the interaction of my children and where they are going and where they're not. I have banned all major porn sites, not just me, but before Virginia did it. You can't access porn sites in Virginia without some very serious skills. You can't get on Pornhub or X videos or any of these other hairymexicans.com, whatever. You can't get on any of them in the state of Virginia. So that's a good thing. But I also know what apps she can. There has to be some level of responsibility because my firearms, my children cannot purchase this. They're not supposed to until they're a certain age. And if I leave this out for them, or I don't secure it, or I don't protect them, and no, just because I'm not pointing this at Olivia. She's nowhere even near this. A lot of people are like, oh my God, it's right in front of her. She's underneath me. That doesn't mean I'm sitting on her head, although that might be a proposition that takes place later. But as of right now,
because of the shirt I'm wearing.
So the whole point I'm trying to make is that Zuckerberg needs to own this because he's the CEO. But those parents need to take responsibility to ensure that they're monitoring their children. Let me know if I'm wrong.
I agree with you. He definitely, if he just let whatever on his site, then okay. But it's the fact that he does monitor Facebook and he shuts down a lot of things that don't align with his own personal politics and his own personal beliefs.
Right.
And pretty much all conservative voices, he tries to shut you down. Anything that said anything negative against the vid, anything that said anything negative against, the Democrats, or anything positive about Trump or whatever,
right,
you were shut down. And it's the fact that he shut that down, but didn't shut this down. So yes, I think he is definitely, the company needs to be held culpable. I don't know about him personally. I understand he owns it and he's the CEO, but I guarantee there's probably maybe like 1,000 people between who's responsible for that and him.
Oh my God. There's 50,000 people who are responsible for that.
Personally should not be held responsible. I think the company should. So yes, I think if they're going to sue the company, not him personally. I also agree with the parents. Parents should have, if these parents care this much to be able to go to DC and attend the hearing, and then they should have cared that much to monitor what their children were doing. I remember when TikTok was new, and one of my friends that I went to school with, she made a post on Facebook about it and said her twins, I think they were like 12 at the time or something like that, said, you know,
God, that shirt looks good.
Thank you. This new platform, TikTok, my kids were on it. They'd had it for a whole 2 hours, and they were just inundated with a bunch of porn and gross things. And I immediately took it off of their phones. And I remember Hayden, when she got mono, she was downloading a bunch of stuff because she was so bored. And I remember her mentioning TikTok. And she's like, it's new videos like YouTube. And I'm like, okay. And then it started ringing. I was like, wait a second, I've heard that before. So I started going back through all these Facebook posts. And it's been like 9 months since my friend had made that post. And I just went through everything. And I went through and I found it. And I was like, yep. And I showed Matt and I said, we're taking off. She has absolutely no access. And she still has no access to TikTok, even though she bitches on a daily basis that every single one of her friends has access. And it's not porn. It's just a bunch of fun videos, Mom. Why can't I watch it? No. Hell no. I know exactly what, well, you know exactly what the kids are watching. I'm not technologically savvy. But I mean, there's things you can put in place for your kids where you can have something on your phone that when they try to download something or try to access something on their phone, it actually, you need permission from your phone, and you have to give permission for them to be able to access that on their own phones. There is a lot out there where parents can protect their children. And unfortunately, a lot of parents just let their phones babysit, and they don't do the real parenting. And that's the sad part. So I think the parents are culpable, and I think the company is culpable. Now, I know since someone's probably going to bring it up and go, oh, well, what about, you know, the 1 out of a million where the kid is a freaking technological genius and was able to get through all of that and, you know, fake out the parents. The parents had no idea, even though they were the best parents in the world. That's 1 in a million. Parents should be held culpable for what their kids are doing.
Listen,
I know someone's going to bring that up and go, wait a second.
No, it is. And some people did because, and they're right, because listen, my daughter circumnavigated our software and got into Pornhub. Everyone knows the story. I told everybody that. And I was appalled. And so I put things in place. But to be honest with you, I was lackadaisical with our password. And one time when I was sitting down, we were playing Mario on the Nintendo, I put in the home password without telling them to turn around. She saw it, and that's how she got access. That's my fault. That's my failure as a parent. Trust me, our kids aren't super cyber hackers, for God's sakes. Mostly a Wi-Fi password will stop 90% of the problems as long as you keep it autonomous. That's the way this works. I'm not here to talk about parental security on the internet. That's not my job. I want you guys to come up with your own ideas of what's right for your family, what's not. I'm just trying to provide a different perspective, one you may not agree with, and that's fine, because I have a lot of feelings about this. But my point is the parents have to take some responsibility, because shucking all responsibility is negligent too. Let's listen to the rest of this.
Already answered this. I mean, these.
Well, try us again.
Issues.
Will you take personal responsibility?
Senator, I view my job and the job of our company as building the best tools that we can to keep our community safe.
Well, you're failing at that.
Well, Senator, we're doing an industry-leading effort. We build AI tools
nonsense. Your product is killing people. Will you personally commit to compensating the victims? You're a billionaire. Will you commit to compensating the victims? Will you set up a compensation fund
Senator,
with your money?
I think these are
with your money.
Senator, these are complicated issues.
No, that's not a complicated question, though. That's Senator, a yes or no. Will you set up a victims' compensation fund with your money, the money you made on these families sitting behind you? Yes or no?
Senator, I don't think that's my job is to
Sounds like a no.
Build good tools. My
Sounds
job
like a
is
no.
to make sure that
your job is to be responsible for what your company has done. You've made billions of dollars on the people sitting behind them. You here. You've done nothing to help them. You've done nothing to compensate them. You've done nothing to put it right. You could do so here today, and you should. You should, Mr. Zuckerberg.
It's an interesting idea. I think it's really dangerous to penalize people in a hearing and have them try to commit to possibly multi-million-dollar claims against them by saying I'm wrong. And
it was a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, he's
for
not going to
Zuck.
win.
There was no right answer in that.
It's like, do you still beat your wife? Olivia, do you still beat your kids?
No.
You stopped?
Exactly. That's where it's going. Yeah.
All right, you stopped.
I never beat my kids.
Until when?
What do you mean until when?
You never beat your kids until when? Until you stopped? Or until you realized it was wrong? When did you decide to stop beating your children?
Yep.
So what you're trying to say is that you've never harmed your children in any way, shape, or form. Have you ever yelled at your children, Olivia? Have you ever spanked your children, Olivia? Have you ever made them feel unloved? So there's nothing you can do.
I have a teenage daughter. I'm pretty sure I could say hello in the morning. She's going to be like, oh,
so you're saying that it's your daughter's fault for your obvious abuse?
Exactly.
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing. Holly had him by the nuts. And the moment that Zuckerberg went up there and said anything other than his opening statement should have been this: I represent Facebook and I represent myself as a father. And any moral questions are going to be filtered through myself as a parent, and any financial or obligatory responsibility through Facebook, I will be filtering those questions as a CEO. And I have a responsibility that I represent my stakeholders, the people who use my product, and I have to go ahead and balance the two. As a father, I am terribly sorry for what happened to those families. And there's nothing that I can say or do. So anything that you have to say, I am going to listen to and I'm going to process, and I promise you we will do better. That's the answer. And then you take away Holly. Senator Holly, I've already agreed with you with everything you've said, and I'm not here to defend it as a father or a CEO. But I can't commit to policy-making decisions in the company without consulting the executive chairs and the board that I represent. I am a CEO. I am not a god of my company. And when we decided to go public and we decided to split our shares, that power left me. However, I can tell you that we are committed to ensuring that this never, ever happens again on our platform. And if it does, it is such a rarity that we will continue to work and make an effort at it. Whatever. But he wasn't walking out of there without getting a haircut. He was going to get a haircut either way. And he deserved it because he's an elusive little dick. Let's be honest. Zuck, I called you a dick. And you acted like a Nazi for 2 years. It's your own fault. You've made enemies of people because you were biased and you banned accounts, including mine, and I didn't do shit. Like, I'm the one guy on this damn platform, conservative-wise, who watches his P's and Q's, who puts facts out there. I don't do conspiracy theory. I don't allow that stuff on my channel. I never said anything about COVID that wasn't a medical journal or fact. Ever. I never spoke out against any of it. I said, do what's right for you. Do it. It's a decision between you and your doctor. And at a certain age, you should listen to all viable options to protect and extend your life. That's all I ever said. But I got deplatformed multiple times and decommed because of biasy and censorship. So I'm not going to sit here and protect Zuckerberg. But what I am going to say is that if you aren't monitoring what your kid is doing with their electronic devices and you're worried about them doing it, then there's one simple solution: take them away and don't allow them to have them. That's one solution. Something to think about. All right, good conversation, good talk. Next one, Livia, set us up. I'm going to do the other one first. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And then we'll end it on Oregon because,
okay.
First we got to do our commercial. Folks, there's a little change in the commercial. Pricing has changed. Individual books are $16.99. And then the Documents of Freedom has changed a little bit. We're going to continue to play this. I'm going to edit it tomorrow and get it all right. But I'm going to go ahead and put up the actual Documents of Freedom. We're going to take 1 minute so Olivia can go on a pee break. It's really important to her bladder. And remember, your prostate is your friend.
I'm getting old. I can't.
Well, you don't have a prostate. But the people who do have a prostate, anyway, here we go. Oh, maybe not. Now, hey, what's going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me podcast. It's interesting. I've had these books for, 3 years now. And I've got, 3 independent books of the Declaration, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution of the United States that I inherited from my mother, leather-bound, beautiful, and they're older books, 1935, 1937, something to that effect. I'll show them on the show, but people see me reference these nightly on the show. And the interesting thing is I've never really put two and two together. We have a website, and someone asked last night, hey, how the heck do I get those books? Where do I get those books? And it dawned on me that I should provide these. So they are now on sale. They're beautiful books. They're leatherette books. They're hardback, which is nice. They don't have a dust cover or anything. I've used these, like I said, ad nauseum, and they hold up and they stand the test of time. They've got pictures of the framers, founders, inside the books. They make references with different colors to kind of explain things in a little bit of a simpler way or give some context. But this is word for word, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration. So it's a pretty cool thing. $14.99 per book, and then I'll ship them to you. And then we also have the Documents of Freedom collection, which is all 3 books, and it comes in a hardbound sleeve, which is really nice. And I think that's $49.99. So take a look on the site. You can peruse as much as you want, and now you can own the books that I have on the show. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys 7 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday. No, wait, 7 o'clock all week long, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock. We'll see you live. Good night, everybody. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you, letting us do our current. Really?
What?
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 Did I make it back
So
in time?
so full of crap. You're what? What did I do? I just flipping my hair. What? Pickles. Get some pickles. Someone get this lady some pickles stat. Yeah. Anyway, Document of Freedom. Whoever just ordered, I missed it because Olivia was talking, and I didn't want to interrupt that crushing thing. Keith, thank you for purchasing the Ask the Why shirt and the Documents of Freedom new collection. That's the first one that we have, and I know that they're going to be ecstatic to make that for you. So congratulations. We're going to ship those out on the 12th. It's going to take a little bit of time to get them, but we're going to get everything set up. So just get the shirt to you right away, and the books will ship out on February 12th, okay? All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Here, let's get to this next one. Olivia and I want to go play our game tonight. We're very excited. History on this. Let me get to it. All right, so this is on Twitter. This is an interesting one. This is from a Navy veteran, and I haven't even watched this video yet, so I don't know if it's going to be complete crap. I have a feeling it is going to be complete crap. I see a lot of these where veterans are coming out
for a long time,
and they're, I was a Republican. I switched parties, and I want to address this real quick. If you're a 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 60-year-old person, your neurons are set. You are who you are. You're never going to change. And in fact, you're never going to change anyway. The moment that you reach conscientious bliss, you're never going to change. The moment that you understand how to steal the cookie and lie to your parents, you are who you are. Excuse me. And you can alter who you are. You can cover up your inequity. But if you're an asshole, you're always going to be an asshole. I'm perfect. I'm living proof. And I can, you laughed a little too hard for that. Yeah. I can go ahead and, cover it up once in a while, but occasionally it's going to come out. And it's going to be nasty. And Olivia will tell you, there's times where I'm just a complete jerk for no reason. And so is Olivia. And that's who we are. But the question is do we have more good days than bad? Can we be better than who we are normally and learn how to limit the collateral damage of who we are, right? That's fine. But if you're like that age, 35, 40, 40, and you all of a sudden literally change everything you believe in, your ideology and you're like, I'm no longer this. I believe in abortion. I believe in confiscating guns. I believe in limiting the Constitution. I believe in big government. I believe that white people are bad, that the nuclear family and marriage is an unholy union because it's inherently racist and sexist, homophobic and transphobic. I believe that a man is no longer a man and a woman is no longer a woman. If all of a sudden you wake up one day and you just flip, I didn't trust you to begin with. That's why I have such a huge issue with the guy who left the Young Turks. And I can't remember his name now. Leroy loves him. Someone's going to remind me. It'll be in the chat. And
I don't watch, so I don't know.
It doesn't matter. But if you immediately flip, I got to question who you are. I got to question your veracity for truth, right? Your scruples, your honor, your integrity, your platform, who you are as a person. I don't like it when people do this. So Dave Rubin, thank you. And I like Rubin. I really do. And I watch him with Megyn Kelly all the time because I actually really adore Megyn Kelly. I think she's a cutie and I love her to death. And even though I don't agree with most of what she says sometimes, but that's it. She's cute. And you even said she's cute, Liv. So
who?
Megyn Kelly.
Oh yeah, she's
she's
pretty.
beautiful. So Dave Rubin and her, I love their exchanges. But this guy comes on and he changes, and I want you to listen to it. And we're going to give it we're going to try not to cut it up. But to me, I'm hearing this a lot, especially from veterans, and I want to get your opinion. Okay? So take a listen.
I used to be a Republican for a long time, like 35 years Republican, decade.
Okay, anybody that does the zoom in TikTok thing, you've got to stop. You have got to. We don't want to see your nose hairs. I don't want to see your buggy eyes.
The other thing is that annoying high-pitched female voice that seems to narrate every single video.
Oh, yeah.
I hate that.
Oh, God. And then they play those stupid, this is a book made by blah, blah, blah. And it's a robot voice and it's AI. I can't stand that. Anyway, let's listen.
Of having my patriotism exploited, being lied to, being told that the Republican Party is the only true American party. And I bought into it for a long time. For a long time. I voted straight red on every single election, including the 2016 election. So yeah, I voted for Trump. But a weird thing happened when Trump became president.
You finally found your vagina?
All of those principles that I aligned with, yeah, he didn't uphold them at all. He was horrible, a horrible person.
All right, I am going to fact check the shit out of this guy. I just want to let you know, so it might be a little annoying.
And not a very good president, because when it comes down to it, the facts not feelings crowd that the Republicans seem to like try to showcase, when you start looking at the facts, not good for Republicans.
Okay, so let's get to the facts, dude. Like we've held hands long enough. You've courted me. Either fuck me, kiss me, or let me go. Right? I mean, this is where we're at in our relationship. I know I'm long-winded, but dude, seriously, you've courted me long enough. Now it's time to get down to brass tacks. Give me the facts. Just the facts, ma'am.
Just in general. The more and more I started learning and reading, looking at history.
By not reading, by not looking at history.
Republicans had it wrong a lot of the time. Most of it is rhetoric. A lot of it is wedge issues that they campaign on with no real intent to do anything about it. Now, I'm not saying that Democrats are all great. They have their issues too. Even the party itself has their issues. But Republicans, they manipulate and change the truth so much that their base now doesn't even understand how wrong a lot of their things is. And that's because it comes from Trump. He never talks specifics. Why is that?
I wonder who else doesn't talk specifics, bro. You haven't said one thing that's not an emotional tirade that I would say in my knitting club with my sorority sisters. Dude, hey, Liberty Pirate, let's get to it. Was Butt Pirate taken? I wonder. And by the way, Liberty Pirate is a fucking oxymoron. Pirates are a criminal enterprise, and liberty. They're antithetical to liberty. They steal people's ability to make an income. They steal private industry and businesses' goods to turn a profit on a black market. Liberty Pirate is essentially saying smoking to cure cancer. Genius.
No policy. He has nothing to stand on. He just goes with whatever is popular for him. And if you notice, the more and more we get closer to getting an immigration bill passed, the more butthurt and angry he's getting, because now that's another win for Biden and the Democrats. Because let's face it, this summer in an election year is lining up pretty good for Biden. You might want to use anecdotal evidence to say, oh, the economy is horrible. Look how much I can't afford this. But the same metrics that showed Trump's good economy are the same ones now showing that we are recovering. Inflation is down, gas is down. We're starting to see the sun.
Inflation is down because the depreciation of the dollar has stagnated. So the value of the dollar continues to go down. So inflation, by the Fed lowering interest rates, obviously are going to have an impact. That's why they went ahead and raised interest rates to god-awful numbers that we haven't seen historically ever in U.S. history. You can't sit here and say that commodities and goods and services have recovered just because the stock market is doing well. When Donald Trump said the stock market was successful, it wasn't because big corporations were investing in their stock and not necessarily paying dividends to the stockholders anymore, which is what's happening. You had small people like myself and others who were investing into 401k and retirements, and it was paid for by the common man and the middle economy. That's not the same thing that's happening with Biden. You have major corporations who made record profits in 2020 because of COVID, who were not shut down, who were not closed. And the small businesses take it into the shorts with overregulation. And the large corporations are investing in the stock market, holding it up because they know it's going to balloon and eventually pop under a false bubble. So sitting here and saying that the stock market is indicative, let's look at housing prices. Let's look at the cost of steak. Let's look at the cost of fuel. Even though fuel has went down, yes, we understand. Yes, we understand it wasn't going to stay at $2.09, and we understand what COVID did to it. But that doesn't mean that there's not a cost of fuel, because if you look in the oil-producing areas throughout the country, they have been economically destroyed by this. And the reason why is because we are dependent on foreign oil more than we ever have. And when you sit here and say that 11 or 12% is not that big of a deal, it certainly is to the big deal to the local oil producer, and not the ones that are bringing in by the boatload, but the ones who are bringing it in by the truckload. So this guy is talking an emotional fallacy. This is all anecdotal bullshit. This is an emotional dribble video. I was hoping more from a fellow sailor, and now I understand why they think all Navy guys are gay.
I'm going to nickname him Princess Butt Stallion.
Ooh, Princess Butt Stallion. That is so much. Dude, you should check that. At Butt Stallion. Oh, at
and
Princess.
And his mustache. He needs some serious help with that mustache.
Yeah.
What must... I don't know what's on his face.
Well, there's no reason to make fun of it. Well, yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Stock markets have back-to-back record-breaking days and runs. Job creation still way better than Trump. And you could...
Job creation is not way better than Trump. The fact that we are seeing that employment rates are getting back to normal and above of COVID levels is good, because the trajectory has changed. The deregulations that he put into place, Donald Trump, were all wiped out by executive order by Biden. And slowly but surely, Biden has actually rescinded most of his executive orders that throttle based on EPA regulations, zoning laws, and other types of higher taxes in small businesses so they could get the economy back on track. Listen, Democrats know what to do with the economy. They do it all the time when they gut our military and then have to take it over from the Republicans and go ahead and do the same thing by cutting the military again, what they call saving the budget and having a surplus. Bill Clinton did it. Obama did it, and they let our military go to absolute shit and then go ahead and pretend that it's a surplus. Biden's doing the same thing. Oh, well, I didn't spend $1.2 trillion on COVID, so guess what, folks? That's a surplus. No, that's money you set aside that you didn't spend. That's not a surplus because COVID ended. And that's what happens with these false budgets. This is what happens when you put pork barrel politics into litigation and legal ease, is that you force people to sign something that doesn't necessarily impact a long-term beneficial piece of legislation for the country. So when you say we're going to earmark $1.2 trillion for COVID spending and you don't spend it, or in a more accurate number, $600 million, that isn't a surplus. That was money that you gifted yourself to handle an emergency that is no longer present. You didn't save money. You simply didn't spend the money that you had assigned that you were going to. It's not like you cut things that you still planned on spending. It's not like you actually balanced the budget. So if you expect that Joe Biden is going to have a surplus in 2025 and 2026, if he gets back in, I will bet you my podcast that there's not a surplus. Want to bet me? Because there's no possible way for a surplus, because they're not going to cut anything. They're going to continue to expand on this budget and kick the can down the road. And anyone who says anything different is lying to you. Listen, Biden's economy is not in the complete toilet. And anyone who says that is lying. But it is not even close to where it was on Trump for middle America. It's not anywhere where it was for veterans. It's not anywhere where it was for the middle class worker. And anybody that says it is not telling the truth. We saw the tax bill. My taxes were 14% higher under Joe Biden than they were under Donald Trump. Any VA that I got and any money that came back to me from the VA has been taxed into just obliteration since then. So yes, there are things in our economy that are much better than when we were coming out of COVID. And Joe Biden has had a tough job. But if you're going to sit here and tell me by the time that he is out of his first term that he is not going to add just as much to the deficit as Donald Trump, you're lying. Because Donald Trump added 6.7 trillion to the national debt, not 10, because you're not adding the GNP and the growth revenue of having a quarter that was pushing border 3.4 to 3.8%, where he saw a surplus better than Obama in all 4 years outside of what happened during COVID. So if you're going to use it for Biden, you got to use it for Trump. That's the way it works. If you want to go ahead and take the first 2 years of Trump and compare that economy to Joe Biden after the last 2 years, that's not fair either. You're going to have to see Joe Biden's economy in 25, 26, 27, and 28 and have him get a second term to truly see what his economy is going to do once he is completely out of COVID. But you don't get to sit here and give that pass to Joe Biden and not give the same consideration to Donald Trump. It's ridiculous. Here it is.
And say, oh, COVID, COVID, COVID.
He's drinking an IPA. That's all I need to know. Whatever.
COVID screwed that up. Cool. Use that same metric and say, COVID ruined the economy, and now we're getting back to it. Republicans don't do that because they like to point fingers.
This Republican just did, jackass.
They like to lay blame at the Democrats' feet. That's why if you look, everything that they do is all culture-based. That's why the Republicans are all about culture war and rhetoric, because statistically speaking, they can't hold a candle to what the Democratic Party has done in the past. I'm not saying that it can't change in the future, or the Dems might screw things up, because let's face it, we're all human. Rhetoric and culture wars is what gets people angry, and it gets them driving to the polls. That's all they do. The Republican Party uses its people. Your pawns, so effective at changing the narrative that they don't even know they're lying anymore. They don't even know how untruthful and dishonest they're being. Please look at things without an emotional base. Look at things from statistics, trends, metrics, things that are measurable, because that takes emotion out of it. You can say all day, oh, well, look how better the economy was under Trump. Show me how. And I'll use those same standards to apply that to Biden's economy. But then you don't want to do that. You can't get to truth if it's all about feelings. Facts over feelings.
All right.
Huh? What?
To even begin to lay the culture war at Republicans' feet, I think he is misconstruing culture and values. And there is a very big difference between Republican values and Democrat values, because Democrats don't have values. Democrats have ideology. They have a vision of what the country should be, not what the country is. And Republicans have a vision of what values are important to the American way of life. And those values are family and God and loyalty to our country, capitalism, smaller government, belief that all life is precious, believe that everyone's endowed with certain rights that are anointed by God and nature and happen to be written in the three greatest books of all time. These are our values. This isn't culture. This isn't a cooking recipe. This isn't a movie on ACM. This isn't a book. This isn't a piece of music from Mozart and his great mass. These are values. These are hereditary. They are inherent in who we are. And for him to sit here and say that Republicans are based on the culture war, well, I just want to throw some words out there, Liv, and you just tell me if it's Republican or Democrat, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Homophobic.
That would be Democrat.
Right. Transphobic.
Democrat.
Racist.
Democrat.
Xenophobic.
Democrat.
Deplorable.
Democrat.
Fascist.
Democrat.
MAGA.
It depends on which way you're
I
using
threw a
it.
tricky. How about
Tricky
this? How about this?
trees.
How about this? MAGA. And then how about this? MAGA.
Okay, the first one's Republican, second one's Democrat.
What about maggot?
That's Democrat.
What about Trump-tards?
That's Democrat.
Now, I understand. They're going to be like, well, you called us snowflakes. Yeah, we did. There's no doubt. And I've never used that term in my life. So I think when you start off being derogatory towards a person, that's a culture war. And the difference between the Democrat Party is, once again, they believe in culture and we believe in values. They believe that art is more important than spirituality. They believe that entertainment is more important than a code of morality. Values are much different than culture. And honestly, we're a country that doesn't have a lot of culture. Let's face it, we arrived late to the party when it comes to the overall cultural global culture in the world today. But when it comes to values and it comes to having a system of morality, the United States is the leader of the free world for a reason. So for a person who's in the military, who swore an oath to protect this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic, I'm really surprised to hear this guy talk about culture war. It leads me to believe that this guy had a shift in his life, something that happened where it truly changed his overall fabric of who he was and how he defined himself. And the best thing that I can tell you, and Liv, do you know what it could be? Because I already know what it is.
No.
He started dating a liberal. I bet you $1 billion this guy found some punani that was completely feminazi, and she has neutered him to a point where he is now a feminista. He is an effeminate male who has no testosterone left in his body. I'm sure they're on the same cycle. And if this guy's going to go ahead and stand up there and not give me one iota of proof or one factoid, the best thing that he said was that Republicans can't see any good in Biden's economy, and that's the truth.
To be honest, listening to that video, after a few minutes, it just kind of sounded like the adults on the Charlie Brown cartoons. Yeah, this is pretty much where it was.
That's pretty good, pretty accurate. I think it takes guts to get up there and do a video like that. I think there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you know what? I'm questioning my party values, because I question being a Republican all the time. I don't, but it certainly doesn't make me want to jump in the bed with liberals. In fact, all it does is demonstrate to me, like I can understand a liberal saying, you know what, I just don't align with Democrats anymore, but I certainly don't align with Republicans. I'm going to refrain. I'm going to abstain from politics. That's what I would do. Why would you jump into one bed? Why would you jump in with gonorrhea and then jump in with herpes? Why don't you just stay out of bed for a while? Why don't you go ahead and wash the sheets? Why don't you just go ahead and use some swabs to wipe down the room, some Clorox wipes and some Pine Sol, and kick the hooker out of bed and start fresh? Because I don't think that is... I don't think it's based in reality. I think this guy is disenfranchised with Donald Trump, and he is a sign that the Republican Party is Donald Trump. Let me just be clear, and this is the last point I'm going to make about this, then we'll go to Oregon, is Donald Trump's reign over the Republican Party ends in 2024 if he's not elected president. And that's the truth. is that he
Just
may
like
be
Hillary Clinton's ended in 2016.
Yeah. If Donald Trump loses in 2024, that means the Republicans are going to lose the House, they're going to lose the Senate, they're going to lose the White House, and Donald Trump will have been a failure since after 2016 in everything he's done. And that's, you may not like it. You may hate that, but that's the truth. And you can't argue it. You come in here and show me the success. Because when it comes to, he has not won an election for us. We lost the House. We lost the Senate. We got it back, but with no help to Donald Trump. We lost 19 swing seats that were all supposed to be Republican-based, but we gave it to people like Herschel Walker and Majewski in Ohio and Dr. Oz. And then you went up against people like Kemp. And you went up against people in Georgia who actually were the people. You want to know why you lost Georgia? It's because you completely disenfranchised voters by saying it was stolen and they didn't show up. And people said, screw it. We lost 2 seats in the Senate. And because you went after Kemp, and he was extremely popular, he won by a landslide. He destroyed Stacey Abrams. The Georgia people love Kemp. So Donald Trump in 2024 has to win. If he doesn't win, it's over. Donald Trump will become the Hillary Clinton of the Republican Party. And even though we may like him and we even say, hey, remember your time, but he will no longer lead, de facto leader of the Republican Party. He will be utilized. He'll be leveraged. We'll put him in states that are borderline or struggling so he can come in and rally and he can go ahead and do a book tour or something like that. But if you expect Donald Trump to continue to be the captain of the Republican Party and he loses in 2024, that ship will have sailed. You need to understand this. And if you don't, you're just the same person that thinks that Taylor Swift is a satanic priestess. You're just not seeing things clearly. And that's what I'm here for. Okay. Let's go ahead and listen to the Oregon thing.
Okay.
What?
Sorry, Hayden.
What?
My name is Dana Belfi, and
Oh, Hayden. She's being Hayden.
I don't understand what that
She
means.
tells me she hates the way I dress and my clothes are old and blah, blah, blah. Mom, can I arrange your closet? Her text, Mommy, can I arrange your closet, please? And I'm like, oh, you want to look cute for blah, blah, blah tomorrow. She's like, don't expose me.
So did you guys want to, can we show her song?
Yes.
So you guys,
Yes, she's going to kill us, but yeah.
you guys need to understand something. This song
Sucks.
First of all, it's called A Song Among Us. Is it what it is? Song About Us?
A song that surrounds us. I have the paper right here.
It's a hymn, and it is one of the most unpopular songs. Nobody sings it. I went on YouTube and I tried to find someone. Nobody sings it. Nobody. Because I wanted to find the pitch and tone of it. And so I was helping Hayden record. And this is a horrible song. And it's so hard to sing.
It is.
Because she has to go from really low alto to soprano. And it takes a lot of range. So you got to remember, she's 13 years old. And she's not formally trained. But she's going for state. And she did this recording. And I was really impressed because there's no way I could hold even a remote level of what she did. Now, her mom can sing. And her mom, you look really good tonight, is awesome. But
in the shirt.
But Hayden, and out of it. And Hayden is a really talented vocalist.
She's got a better voice than I did, I think.
But
I took lessons for years.
This song is horrible. I mean, it's horrible. I hate this song, but she does a great job. Listen to this.
a whisper to welcome the morning, a sound that sails on the breeze, a rhythm that ripples and rushes and bids us all to sing. There is a song that surrounds us with words my heart seems to know. There is a song that surrounds us. Just listen, my friend, and hear it begin to rise once more. There is a song.
That is really hard to sing. It is not a good song. And I thought it was awesome. And we used our recording equipment here. And Oh, was the sound off? What do you mean the sound's off? Sound wasn't off. Sound was
Did
off?
they not hear it?
No, sound wasn't off. Everyone heard it. Anyway, we were very, very impressed for her to be able to. It's a horrible song, guys. It sucks. Nobody sings it. Nobody, and they do it because the range is so incredibly difficult. But that was it. So anyway, I just wanted you to hear that. So let's get to Oregon. Olivia, give me the headline. What is it?
Sorry.
So not even ready for this.
No, the Oregon Supreme Court. Hang on. Oregon Supreme Court rules that Republican senators who walked out last year cannot seek re-election.
So let's watch this.
Oregon Supreme Court just ruled that state senators who walked out of the Oregon legislature cannot seek re-election.
You might remember during last year's legislative session, a group of 10 senators took part in a Republican-led walkout. Well, now it looks like they will not be allowed on the ballot this year. Fox 12's Bonnie Silkman is live in studio with much more on what this means. Bonnie?
Yeah, good morning. 10 Oregon senators who took part in the longest legislative walkout in state history are now being barred from running for re-election. We've never seen this before. It's the first time this has happened in the state. It's all because of a new state law. That ruling, by the way, just handed down from the state Supreme Court. So all of this is a developing story. So this unanimous decision really came down to Measure 113, which voters passed in November of 2022. The measure bars lawmakers from running for re-election if they have 10 or more unexcused absences. So that's really what this all boils down to. Oregon Secretary of State ruled that lawmakers who took part in the boycott last year could not be on the 2024 ballot. Now, some of those lawmakers did challenge that measure, arguing that the language of the ballot measure said that they couldn't run in the next election, not this upcoming one for 2024. But again, the Oregon Supreme Court now siding with the Secretary of State. So we know that 10 lawmakers, a third of the state Senate, is now barred from seeking re-election. Those lawmakers are all Republicans except for one independent. Now, we've seen walkouts happen in the past before, but this was the longest one in state's history, as we mentioned. It lasted a total of 6 weeks. The senators were opposing bills on abortion and guns, essentially denying a quorum and bringing the Senate to a standstill. Now, we just got this statement from Republican leaders. So Senate Minority Leader Tim Knopp said, quote, "We obviously disagree with the Supreme Court's ruling, but more importantly, we are deeply disturbed by the chilling impact this decision will have to crush dissent." Now, as for what could happen next, there is a chance for these candidates to appeal. But the state's filing deadline for candidacy is coming up fast. It's March 14th. So we will continue following this big developing story this morning and what it means for our upcoming elections this year. Kim and Shauna, back to you.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a good chance somebody's trying to hack your website right now. You gotta make sure you're covered.
How's your Tums there, dear?
Chipotle. Legal or not legal, Liv? Think about it. Take a second. Look at these 3 books.
I would think it would be illegal.
Which one does it fall under? Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, or the Constitution?
Constitution.
None of them. Because why? It's a what?
I don't know.
What type of issue is this? Federal?
State.
State.
So powers to the state.
So who do we reserve powers to the state? Yes. And a state has the right to write its own constitution and laws and bylaws that don't intercede or contradict federal law, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Who writes those laws?
Congress?
The state legislature.
Okay.
And they propose. Congress is fine. The state's Congress is fine. The state legislature is responsible. Then it would move into a vote to codify that into the state's constitution as far as election law or how the state runs its elections and its bylaws to govern people who run for political office. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And why is that? Because who writes the laws?
The state legislator.
The Congress. right? State Congress. Who enforces the laws? At the state level.
I would assume that's the state Supreme Court, right?
Nope, state level. Enforce, not interpret, enforce.
I don't know.
Who enforces national law, federal law? Which branch? Come on, just stop it.
I'm thinking.
Don't be all bleh.
No, I'm thinking. I was horrible at. I was horrible.
There's 3 branches of government.
Yes.
What is the first? What does the executive branch do?
The executive enforces the law.
That's right. They enforce the executive.
You should get Hayden down here. She would know
She
more
would
about
know.
this.
Well, you didn't listen to anything I've heard. So they enforce the law, right? So who enforces the law at the state level? Who's the president of the state?
The government or the governor. Sorry.
Governor, right? The gubernatorial. So the governor enforces the law. Okay. State legislature, they write the law. Who interprets the law? Interpret, to understand it, to define it.
That's the Congress people, right? Congressmen and women. I don't know. I know. Oh, judges. The
Judges,
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court of the state, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So the Supreme Court of the state. So based upon this, are they within the rights of the judicial branch to write law for the state?
Yeah, I think they would be.
No, they're not. The only thing that they are responsible for is that the state legislature propose a law, and then there is a motion that that law is unconstitutional to the state. They can then go ahead and rule on that law. And this was a proposed piece of legislation. And they based it that it is constitutional to go ahead and set parameters for attendance and overall performance of people's contribution to the session. It's well within their right. The problem is that it's not right. And it's an overreach. To change a law, you have to assume a few things about it. Is that one, is that it's fair, that it's just, and that it has merit, and that it's essentially a SMART goal. It's specific, it's measured, it's agreed upon, it's realistic, and it's time-bound. All of those things have to be hit within a law. And the question is this a punitive law that's being used to retroactively remove people who stood against something they disagreed with? Very similar to the Tennessee trio that held up the Tennessee legislation, the Nashville legislation in regards to gun control and walked out. They were removed by Republicans. And then later were found out by judges that that was not something that they could do and were allowed back in. And then ultimately one of them was allowed to run for re-election or whatever. So the judges can get involved. And the precedent is Tennessee did it, but Oregon is a completely different state. So it has its own laws. They can appeal this. The problem is, just like Donald Trump, to keep him off the ballot, they can't move forward with a punitive decision without the appeal process, so they would be allowed to run. So this is what I anticipate is going to happen in Oregon. They're going to appeal. They're going to allow to run in this cycle, and any rules will be placed on the next election cycle. That is my prediction. And if the rule does pass, they will retroactively be held accountable and removed from Congress. That is my gut. But they can't, without getting the appeal process, without getting their day in court, without being heard from the higher appeals court, they can't punitively punish these guys because there's an election coming. And that process will take place before they could possibly be heard. So the same thing with Trump. That's why him being removed from the ballot was a ridiculous notion, because you can't keep him off the ballot until you realize that that's a constitutional move to do. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that is my interpretation of what will take place. They will appeal it. They will allow them to run, and any decision that the Supreme Court makes will be retroactively enforced, even in mid-session. That's my gut. So is it legal? Yes. But not in the way that the Democrats want to do it. They want to have them barred from running completely, and I don't think that's going to stick. That's my gut to the whole thing. Okay?
Well, if it was the Oregon Supreme Court that ruled on it, who's going to overturn it?
The only ones that can.
The federal Supreme Court.
Right. So you've got the states, the districts, and the Supreme Court, federal courts, Supreme Court. So you have multiple levels of, this one would go out of district and this would go to the federal courts. Each district, each state, so this is how it works. Each Supreme Court justice owns a certain area of the United States. It's like a regional manager.
Okay.
So those are districts, and there are judges inside those districts that ultimately make decisions from a district level, from a state level, from a federal level, and then ultimately to the Supreme Court, which is the national level of the United States of America. So the Supreme Court justices, when they're out of session, oversee those trials and those cases that are going on in the states that they're responsible for. And anything that moves up to them, they can make individual dissenting opinion or affirming opinions based upon what their workload is in their districts. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And in the states that they oversee. So that's where you got like the Ninth Circuit, the Second Circuit, First Circuit, and that's how it works. And then when they're in session, those judges have probably already heard most of these cases, and then they bring these cases forward to the body of Supreme Court, and certain people petition the court to hear these cases, but these judges also do it too, and essentially say, these states are moving forward with this, blah, blah, blah. Here's my opinion. This is what we've done. This is what happened at the federal level. This is what happened at the district level. This happened at the state level. And now we need a rule on it. And that judge will ultimately brief and be the lead on what's happening. And then those judges that are in session, that are sitting there, will vote on it.
But if it's the power to the states and they can make their own laws,
because Congress represents more than just the state, they are the voice of the people at the federal level.
Got it. Okay.
So you can't remove the people's voice from petitioning the federal government on the behest of the constituents. You can't do that. Does that make sense? So, Liv?
Yes.
Someone just said Twitter got hacked.
Ooh. Let me look. What up, dude?
Hold on, E. Go ahead, buddy. Says Matthew and Spare, did your account on X get hacked? I got a DM on X from @TheDumbShow saying you've started. Check it. Make sure there's not a space. @TheDumbShow with a space at the end. Somebody's just hacking you, or they're posing as me. I love you, pal.
Okay, what am I supposed to look on?
I love you. I was talking to Mike Blankman. So check it. It's probably somebody who, yeah. So Mel also says, what about the Dems to stop the votes who walked out of Texas? Well, that's where precedent comes in. So these judges will use precedent, but what happens in Texas doesn't affect Oregon. That's in federal law. So at the state and local level, the states don't have to use precedent on what other states think of or what other states do, unless it's like a federal case. So like something with like RICO case or something like embezzlement or something that is on a federal level has to be considered. But when you're talking about state and local elections, like somebody does a ballot with the state seal on it, not every state has to do the same thing. Certain states will use precedent and use Texas versus whatever to go ahead and establish precedent. But the state's courts, the other states don't influence how those states run, their bylaws and the guidance of how their legislators should act. It's not up to them. However, it is if it moves to the SCOTUS or it moves to a higher level court. And that's the great thing about the Court of Appeals is it works. It's a long process. And it certainly will not be decided by the time election happens. So once again, I think they'll be on the ballot. I think this is a move to send a very clear message. I think it's going to get struck down at the next level. and then they will be able to run, and then the Supreme Court will ultimately hear it because the Democrats will go ahead and go to the federal court will go to the Supreme Court, and then you've got a situation where you ultimately will get a decision, and the state will have to abide by it. And then, because the Supreme Court made its decision that the state has to abide by, all states will have to abide by it because it's a federal decision. So now the Supreme Court's the highest court in the land. So that's when precedent matters. So the only time precedent will take effect is that if a higher court in Texas heard it over a higher court in Oregon that was past the state level and the district courts. Yes? Get it? Does that make sense? Comprende? Does anyone understand?
It's above my pay grade. It's wait, phew. I didn't get it in high school. I don't get it now.
Mike, go ahead and take a screenshot real quick and send it to me, and then we're going to go. So, Mike, take a quick screenshot and let me see it. It's not unconstitutional. It's Darla. See, you know what I hate more than anything is when I say something and then someone goes, no, it's unconstitutional. I just explained to you it's not. States get to decide. It will be unconstitutional when it's heard at the next level. But right now, district courts have every right to make a decision and propose a piece of legislation that passed to rule if it's constitutional to the state. It will go up to the next level. That's my point. Mike, do you have a screenshot for me? I want to see this real quick so people know. I'm waiting to hear it because I'm looking at my messages and nothing has been sent out from me. So I don't think so. Mike, I'm there right now. Oh, you're not talking about MySpace. You're talking about Spaces, right? Oh yeah, that is me, dude. And that was back in December. Holy crap, Mike. How long have you been off Twitter? Yeah, this is back. Spaces isn't MySpace, dude. Spaces is kind of like a live show that's done simply by voices, and everybody can join. It's like a conference call. So I ran one time, and I invited you to it. That's what that is. So you're okay. Ian says 12 districts, 9 SCOTUS judges is an argument. I don't know what that means. Oh, are you talking about not having enough judges for the districts? We're going to go in a second, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're talking about? Because the thing is that the reason why you've got more district than judges is because some of the districts are smaller than others. There's no doubt that the district levels are completely overwhelmed. And it's not that we need more Supreme Court justices. It's that we need more judges at the state level. Supreme Court justices are fine. It doesn't matter whether you have 3 or 9 or 27. And you can certainly create a lower court under the Supreme Court, right? So what you would do is that you would add more judges who would basically be backfill on the bench if something happens. It's going to be changing some constitutional law there where you could basically hire or not elect, but appoint 20 other judges that would oversee the district courts, right? But they would not be able to sit on the SCOTUS. They would not be able to, Supreme Court of the United States. And those 20 would help district and to alleviate workload, because honestly, we probably need 40 or 50 judges, to be honest with you. And you could put them and create a lower court under SCOTUS that could hear these cases that go to district and federal levels. But you would continue to have the current judges that we have at 9. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's a whole nother conversation. I mean, and honestly, we probably do need to expand the judges, but not at the Supreme Court level. It doesn't matter. The amount of cases that they hear a year, they're all hearing it in chambers. They're all hearing it at the same time. So it's not like you can increase the workload. What are you going to do? You're going to break up the chambers? All right, 6 of you go over here, 6 of you go over here. Or 3 of you go over here, 18 you go here. It's stupid. It's not going to do that. So the workload is the workload. So the Supreme Court needs to be selective in what it does. It only hears a certain amount of cases a year for a reason. There's absolutely a reason for the Supreme Court to be very selective in what it hears, because ultimately not every decision needs to be heard by the Supreme Court. Many times the Supreme Court turns down cases because the state and the district level didn't do their job. And they didn't do it effectively. So they kick it back down to the lower courts. So expanding the court doesn't do anything. All it does is allow you to stack the court. Every time you're like, oh, well, we lost favor in the court. Well, we're just going to throw in another 6 seats and we're going to make sure we elect 6 Democrats. That's why they want to do that. It's not because of workload. But if you want to talk about state decisions like immigration, or you want to talk about start expanding states' attorneys to start prosecuting at a state level versus a local and city level with DA and prosecutors, which is a very good argument for states' attorneys since they're elected representatives and assigned by the federal government, hell yeah, I'm all for it. Expand that. Make that a part of the SCOTUS. And give an additional 50 judges. Screw it. Give 100 judges and give 2 per, base it off the electorate if you want to do that. You know, California gets 7, Texas gets 7, Florida gets 7, New York gets 7, and then go ahead and divide the rest. Whatever it takes. But what you don't get to do is expand the court. Matt, how do I contact you about the books? Just go to my website, dumbshow.com, and click on contact. You'll send me an email, and then you and I can just send emails or text back and forth. And let's figure out what you want to do. If you want me to refund your money, that's great. If you want me to go ahead and refund it and you buy the new one, if you just want to get the books, however you want to do it, just let me know. I'm totally flexible. Okay? All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show. 8 minutes past. We're out of here. Olivia, say goodbye.
Night, y'all.
See you guys tomorrow, Friday night. We will have a recorded show in the morning. We will have a live.
You will have a recorded show in the morning because I won't be here.
Well, when I say we, it's like the Don't Unfriend Me show. Like it's collaborative. We. It's We Goose. There's 2 O's in Goose Boys. Utah.
Give me 2.
Give me 2. I will be doing a recorded show in the morning. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Go over to dumbshow.com. Pick yourself up some cool stuff. And we'll talk to you later. Thanks, everybody. God bless. Good night.
Y'all.
See ya.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The Dumb Show.
Did they remove Abraham Lincoln from the ballot? There was, and I believe it was cited as, and I'm literally getting off right off this, I believe it was cited because of the suspension of habeas corpus. Abraham Lincoln did not get along with the Supreme Court. In fact, he hated the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court hated him. And he was one of the only presidents to suspend habeas corpus due to the Civil War and other things, and you can read about it. Go take a look up Supreme Court, Abraham Lincoln, dissension between Lincoln and the Supreme Courts, and I think you will see that is when the ballot removal took place, was a court decision. I don't know the full story, but I do know it has something to do with him suspending habeas corpus. He didn't like the Supreme Courts. In fact, he wanted to absolve the Supreme Courts. He thought they were totalitarian and very much like English rule. The pomp and circumstance and the powdered wigs of the empirical English and other countries like France. And it's not like they didn't have influence. And the American Revolution wasn't so far removed from the Civil War. So understand that those feelings of hatred and disregard for English rule and European rule were still inherent in Lincoln and all the way through our early history. It's really only World War II that we started getting along, in World War I, a little bit Churchill, that we started getting along with England, and we still had a lot of dissension towards them. It's still in society. I despise the English. So needless to say, check habeas corpus, look up Abraham Lincoln, suspension of habeas corpus, and also removal from ballot, and I think you'll find some interesting things. I got to go. Bye.